I'm doing 70. Yeah.
Okay, kids, turn your mics on. We're going live. Live!
You got it.
Live.
On the living color.
I'm going to wait till I see some of the kids come on the chat here before I start on my tirade.
This guy I work with that got caught going 98 miles an hour on 79. Got a nice fat fine.
I've been traveling 79 right at the speed limit, and I've had people pass me that they're standing still.
Oh, I know.
And I go up the road about a mile or so, and one of the crossovers, the state people were just sitting there. Probably figured the guy was going too fast, couldn't catch him. So,
Really slow down.
yeah. Scott Grinnell, hello. Hi, Scott. How are you today?
Thank you.
How was your week?
Uneventful for the most part. Just daily.
Awesome, man.
Daily dose of idiocracy.
Yeah, I'm gonna address that idiocracy here in a little bit. Okay, cannabis is there. Everything is good. Emmy, don't mind me. I've had a pretty nasty week this week, and it just doesn't seem to want to end up. So, okay, I'll tell you who's all here. Scotty is here. Bones the Bludgeoner is here. Mr. T is here. And I think I'm here.
Yep. You like it.
I'm wearing camouflage pants, so I can't see myself, you know.
I missed.
Hi, Bones. Say something to her. Say,
Hello.
hi, Emmy. Anyway, I had a gun show this weekend, so I'll get this stuff out of the way for the gun shows. Give people more time to get here and maybe give me some, bad week. Maybe give myself a chance to get a little drunker, so breed some liquid courage so I can tell some people to go where I think they ought to go and take their papooses with them. But anyway, I put my gun show on at Cherry Tree. Weather turned out to be a kick in the ass. It was too nice. Somebody stole some of our signs. Don't know when they did it. So we did have people coming through both days saying they couldn't find the place, and I said, well, their signs are down here, down there. Okay. And so when Bones came out tonight to help load and pick up the signs, I asked him where he put all the signs. I told him where I saw some. And he said, well, down at Cherry Tree in 27, you put two. There's only one there. They must have taken that one on Friday night, because when I went home Friday night, there was only one. Don't think of it.
I'm down on 408?
Route 8?
Route 8. Yeah.
You put two down there.
Down
and
that way, yeah. One was going down there.
Yeah, and then there was one over by 408 itself, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, and that one's gone. So, if I ever catch the mother effing son of a bitch doing it, I will put a bullet in their ass. And if I don't have a bullet, I sure as hell got a screwdriver. I'll give them a good screw and they won't never forget. And we got all kinds of people coming on there. Hi, guys. Keep it up. Bring you on. Okay, getting to gun shows. I was at the Cherry Tree Township Fire Hall Gun Show, which I was putting on with my friend Johnny Hollabaugh. The weather struck us a blow. It got too nice. The gun show weather needs to be rain, cold, damp, snow, whatever. And we were supposed to get some of that, but we didn't get some of that. Now they're saying we won't get some of that until tomorrow night or Tuesday. Because of how slow it's moving. And okay, we'll see you later, Bones.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys later.
Yep.
Right.
So Bones was just here to help unload my car after the gun show. Didn't have a lot of people through. Only about 158 people. But I will tell you this. They were buying. Okay. For that number of people, I did a little over $500 worth of business. Okay, and all the dealers that I know were all extremely happy. And I know because of the stuff that I delivered to one of my older clients, customers, I picked up $1,000 from him, and I went to the gun show. And I picked up $1,000 worth of odds and ends stuff, so I can put it together and deliver it to him and get another 1,000. But anyway, I still have lots of stuff left over. So it wasn't very well attended, but the sales were brisk. All the dealers were happy. They were more than satisfied. They all said the crowd was thin, but boy, they were spending. And
Well, you've always said when the weather's decent, people don't necessarily come out, and this is probably going to be one of the better weekends for the rest of the year, so everybody was probably farting around at home.
Yeah, busy Saturday because, well, remember the thing, I had to finish up in my barn because supposedly tomorrow the contractor's coming out to dig up the barn for the stalls we're going to need for it. We got the material already delivered, but I haven't confirmed he's coming tomorrow.
so, anyway, I'm happy with what I did. I'm happy with my share of the take from the table, from the gate money. That gave me $1,000 this weekend that I didn't have. Well, wait a minute, I had $1,000 when I went there.
Spend it.
And I spent it. And I come home with $1,000. That's pretty good. Okay. Usually the way they have it figured, I was told by an old timer, it says for every $2 you spend on advertisement, you can figure you will get one person in attendance. Well, I spent $700, almost $800 for advertising for this show. And we only got 150, so that philosophy didn't quite work out. We should have had around 400. But even the fire department was happy with the kitchen sales. People were hungry. So all in all, good show, bad show, whatever, however your aspects are. Good because I made some money, bad because it wasn't. I could have made more if people had showed up. Now I got lots of work to do. Next 2 weeks, or next show that I will be at that's around this area is October the 23rd. Now mark the dates on this because it's not your usual Saturday, Sunday gun show. This is Friday afternoon from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock on October the 3rd, and from 9 to 4 on the 24th. Down at Shippensville at the, I guess it's Allegheny Logs warehouse on Route 322. So if you're in this area, just buzz right straight down 322 until you come to that place. And so I will be there. I have 4 tables reserved. But again, it is only Friday night from 4 to 9 and then Saturday from 9 to 4. Okay.
Those cows around 5 supply.
In November, I don't have it down here because it's still in the stuff that I have to unload and unpack. Just picked up today a flyer for Yankee Lake. Okay, Yankee Lake Ballroom. I believe it's on November the 7th. Over in Yankee Lake, Ohio. It's not far from here. 45-minute drive. I don't have any more particulars than that, other than that's the tentative date. I'll have that information by next week because I'll be up there unpacking the stuff tomorrow. Then the next one that I have that's very near close is December the 12th and 13th at the Harbor Creek Fire Department Social Hall on US Route 20, Harbor Creek, PA. Again, that's December the 12th and 13th, standard usual hours. All right, let's go to the next thing here. And the next one I have is January 23rd and 24th at the Kearney Lake Sportsman's Club, Route 18, Kearney Lake, Pennsylvania. Now there is supposed to be one in February at the Venango County Fairgrounds around President's Day. I think either the week before or the week after. Because there's another one I should be getting flyers for Clintonville Fire Department for their annual, they only have one show there a year, their annual President's Day gun show. So that's what I got lined up. And Lord willing, the creeks don't rise and I haven't killed anybody by then, we'll be there. Now, you might be a little curious as to why I'm opening up a bottle of Jameson triple distilled Irish whiskey, compliments of Mr. Scotty Gurnell. I had a very unsavory taste of life this week. I had to put my poor dog Layla down, and it was a heart. You got something to pour some in there, Mr. T?
I can't have it.
Oh, you can't have that?
Yeah, because my kidney died.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No alcohol.
Oh, here, I'll put some in here then. Yeah, I can hear myself drinking.
Coming out the other side here, right?
Okay, now let's do that. Yes, my dog here back in May, early June, got a growth on her front paw. And it do that. Son of a bitch. Anyways, kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, in July, I tried calling the vets. And because of the coronavirus and the governor's restrictions on the coronavirus, I could not take her to a vet. Nobody was seeing anybody, and the one person said that they would see her, but not until November. This is back in July, November. So I kept calling around. Finally, I found one over in Titusville, who happens to be a friend of Scott Gurnell's. But anyway, found them. But the only problem was they couldn't see her for 6 weeks. Okay, so by the time I made the phone call and we got her over there to see him, she had been looking at it and made it open up into an open sore. They said it was cancer. So they said probably would need to try and get a specialist. But here we go again. Here's the rub. Because of the coronavirus, if the veterinarian has not seen the dog, they can't accept any new cases. You heard me. This is in Pennsylvania, the new communist state thereof, run by the dictator Wolf in his red cloak and his hammer in one hand and sickle in the other. And so I could not get her to see anybody. So finally they told me. So when I finally made the decision, earlier in the week I had 2 hours trying to get her off the couch to go outside, go to the bathroom before going to bed. And she didn't want to go. I finally got her off. She went outside and she stood on the porch and just stood there. And the next thing I know, I see her hind end shaking, quivering, and down she went. And that's where she stayed. So I went out, fixed up a couple of rugs that we had out there for her to make a little pad for, and I did manage to get her to move to that. It took me a while. So consequently, I was up most of the night trying to keep an eye on the poor thing. She didn't move from there until about 11 o'clock the next day. Okay. So when that happened, I decided I'm going to call Daryl and tell him what's going on. That's my son, because it was basically his dog first. So I wanted to let him know what was going on. So he said, well, if you can find somebody to take care of her, we'll do that. So I started calling around. Well, since we haven't seen that dog, we can't take on any new patients because of Wolfie's coronavirus dictates and all that kind of stuff. So I finally found one place, said they could do it Mallory's, where she was before, the next day. Okay, I said, well, I don't want to have her struggle unless I have to. So let me see if I can find somebody else. So I made a few more. I found a person who would, a veterinarian who would, but they wanted double fee for visits for 2 appointments at $45 an appointment. Okay, they wanted two times that, and then they wanted another what was it, 120. It was going to cost over $200. It ended up going to be about $260 by the time they did what they were supposed to do. So I called Mallory's back and I says, what's it going to cost me to bring? Well, of course, you got to pay for the appointment. I said, yeah, that's no problem. And then they said it's going to be $40 or $30, $40 for the euthanasia. And so I took her over there on Thursday and brought her home, made a coffin for her. My son took her up to the mountains and buried her up by our new camp because she just loved being up there. So it was I shouldn't have been shocked by it because I've been expecting it with the way she's been. And I've had to put other dogs down, but this one, her and I were really, really close. Okay. She would follow me over in the yard. When I went out to get the mail, she'd follow me and then stop where I told her to stop. I told her that one time, and from then on stayed there. I'd be out mowing the backyard. She'd be out front, staying away from it. But she'd come around to the back, take a look, see how I was doing, and turn around and go out front again. So when I went out front to mow, she'd go out back and lay on the porch. And after a while, she'd come out front to see how I was doing. Okay, and we took her camping with us every week. She loved to ride. Boy, you said, Layla, want to go ride? Her ears just popped up, her head tilted like that, and as soon as you grabbed the doorknob, boom, she was headed for the car. And, it just, goddamn communist! Making us sacrifice the lives of our pets because they're too stupid to understand what a real disease is about. And it's about control of what these bastards are doing. It has nothing to do with the true nature of the disease. It's control over you. And all I can say is, I'm tying a couple things in here. If Biden gets in, he's a Trojan horse. If he gets in, because they've already exposed themselves on that, if he gets in, within a few months of him taking the oath of office, they will use the 25th Amendment and diminish capacity and remove him from office and put Kamala Harris in there, or Kamala Harris, whatever her hairy-ass name is. Put her in there, and then she will be allowed to appoint, with congressional approval, a vice president. Now, who do you think would be in line? I don't know the progression, but who do you think would be in line for her nominations? I think there would be Pelosi, Hilda Beast, maybe even occasional Cortez, and then probably, if they didn't accept or wouldn't approve, probably possibility of that Muslim bitch up in New York or up in Michigan. Yeah, you heard me say it, Muslim bitch. Not because it's hate speech, because she is. She's a Muslim, and she's a bitch. And so, this is what it's all about. We are being stuck, stabbed, poked, prodded, trying to engage us into a war, which they've already started, and they have no intentions of shutting down because they're using everything they can. Even when Trump got sick with the coronavirus and went to the hospital, after he come out of there and was taking a cocktail of antibiotics, Pelosi was looking into the possibility of using the 25th Amendment to diminish capacity Claus to have Trump removed from office because he's taking medicine. Yes, sir, Spike.
Well, you had mentioned that AOC gal. I don't believe she would qualify. Don't you have to be 35 years old to be president?
Yes.
She's only 30.
Lindsay, like I said, I'm not sure what.
Yeah, I'm just throwing
I
that
didn't
out.
know how old she is. I'm glad she's not any older than that. Because that's one less one we have to worry about.
Of course, well, Pelosi on the Constitution, it's not Pelosi's call. It's Vice President's call.
Diminished capacity.
Yeah, he and
But she
Cat.
was,
I mean, she
she
probably
was-
pushed for it.
yeah.
The Vice President is responsible for
Yeah.
actually
But she
doing
was
that
opening-
process.
What she was doing was trying to get a committee together to look at that possibility.
Well, she still was.
Yeah.
Well, she wants to do a commission. So she's actually trying to take over to do these. She's ignoring the Constitution. And trying to insert herself into the picture. And when asked, she said, "No, this won't apply to Trump." Okay, so is she assuming Trump's going to lose, Biden's going to win? She gets this commission because she's thinking Congress will be Democratic control both House and Senate. And she can do that. And then Biden's gone. Harris takes over. I don't know if Hillary wants to be vice president again because she did Harris's time may be numbered.
Well, there's also the idea that her family was not fully naturalized citizens when she was born. So that does not allow her to be born an actual citizen. So I could see if they appointed or got Hillary Clinton, whatever her name is, on as VP, then somebody could, well, I don't think she's allowed to be president, and who becomes president? I mean, it's all speculation and mayhem, but
Well, before we go any further with this one, I want to thank the couple people out there that sent a short a morning note. They feel as if they lost a beloved dog too, and I want to thank you folks for that. But let's get, since we're talking about coronavirus costing us stuff, let's do a little history research that I did one night when I couldn't sleep at about 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I don't sleep very well lately. Never know when I might be up playing on the computer. Yeah, but when I start thinking about it, I says, they referred to how bad the epidemic was in the swine flu outbreak in 1718,
Actually, 18 and 20.
18 through the 20th.
1918, 1920. 2
Yeah,
years.
okay. So, I punched in on the computer what the world's estimated population was at that time. At that time, the population, the number they had was for the year 1910, according to the 19th census or whatever, 1.8 billion. Okay. The number of people that died from that flu, epidemic swine flu, is estimated at 50 million worldwide. Okay. So I said, well, okay, I punched in the computer, what is the estimated population of the United States for 2020? The estimated population of the United States for 2020 is 6.9 billion people. Okay? Now, if anybody saw this, I'm not sure whether it was the head of the World Health Organization or the head of the Center for Disease Control, but anyway, they announced that the U.S. or the world has passed 1 million deaths due to the coronavirus, with 6,900,000, I believe they said, 6,690,000 cases worldwide. So when they did the mathematics, the fatality rate breaks out to being less than 0.13. Okay? And yet they're locking everybody down for something that is, yes, it is deadly. Anything that's as deadly as, you have to be wary of. But the reason I brought that up, or what made me bring that up, is I pulled up a story that came over. Let's see where this comes from. WorldNet Daily. 6,500 scientists and health professionals signed anti-lockdown petition. They claim that they're saying that the lockdown was the worst thing that could have been done, and so they're against any further lockdown because there's a couple of governors and a couple of states are talking about locking things down again. And,
California.
well, yeah, and you see where California governor made a statement to people. Remember, put your mask on in between each bite.
Yep.
If you go out to eat, remember.
I had that article.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you go to a restaurant in California, the mask stays on until when you get to your table. And it stays on when then they want you, okay, when the food is served, you pull your mask down, take a bite,
Put your
mask back on, and chew. And of course, if you got to leave the table, go to the bathroom, you put the mask on. Now, Pennsylvania, you can take this in Pennsylvania. You come in, wear your mask, you can sit down and take your mask off the table. But should you leave the table to go someplace like the bathroom, you got to put your mask back on and go to the bathroom.
I don't do that. I'll wear the mask going in, and I will take care of whatever business. But I don't stand in line to check out. I let the wife do that because I can't breathe with a mask. Because of my heart condition, my oxygen exchange rate is high. It's like 90, 94, 95, but it is slow in being done because of the pump not working the way it should be. So it's supply and demand. But anyhow, I was going to say something like that. Anyhow, the virus is deadly, yes. Certain age groups, yes. Certain ethnic groups, not because of their chromosome structure. Let's get this straight. Just because certain ethnic groups have a different death rate, higher or lower than other ones, it's not due to their genetic structure. It is due to their social standing or social life or social system that they in. Is that the word I'm looking for? God, I can't remember shit. And and if you say something about somebody and, well, it's hate speech. No, I don't hate anybody. I might dislike you a lot. I might want to stomp on your throat. I might want to rip your head off and piss down your throat. Or I might want to rip your head off and stuff a hand grenade down your throat. But doesn't mean I hate you. I just don't like you. And unfortunately, it's getting to the point that I'm finding more and more people I don't like. Mainly, they're starting to wear the red of the Communist Party. And Joe Biden being number one, and Soros being number two, and Kamala Harris being number three, and then the rest of the chain of command in the Democratic Party and all that shit. And,
hey, speaking of Joe Biden, last week I had an article about how his wife Jill drove Joe away from reporters. And first reaction was, they thought maybe she was trying to get him away from reporters, but he wouldn't answer questions and flub up the answer in the process. Well, actually, the story is he was getting too close to reporters. They were getting too close to him. They were violating social distance rules. And that's why she rushed up, dragging away reporters, keep her husband away. Keep that social distance and then some.
The part that bits me, they come out with these advisories, okay? That's fine. If social distancing works, that's fine to put these advisories out there. But you know who that falls upon? It doesn't fall on President Trump trying to maintain the social distancing. It falls upon the person that's coming up to him. His violating the safety zone.
Oh, yeah.
Not the president. His. If you're going to do it, accept the responsibility for your actions and don't blame Trump. Or don't blame the other guy. You did it, so grow a set of balls and take the consequences. It's a good thing I can't think straight right now.
Hey, why is that good?
Did y'all see that supposed kidnapping plot that was foiled by the feds?
Yeah. Oh, I got something else about that.
My first thought was, I remember reading multiple stories over the last, I don't know, 5-10 years, where and this one's like straight from Ohio, where there was a group that was kind of infiltrated by an FBI informant or an FBI
Years
agent,
ago?
and come to find out that it was actually the Fed who infiltrated the group was the one that was pushing these guys to take it to the next level.
Utari.
I don't remember. It was some bridge. They were going to blow up some bridge or some nonsense.
The Utari group was like that. And in fact, from my understanding, it was the charges against the Michigan's folks, most or some of Michigan. The things are about the same. Paperwork is about the same. Writing, same wording as what the feds are charged or what they're being charged with and stuff. So it's like, okay, we didn't, this didn't work this time. We're going to try it again.
I don't have any kind of evidence. It's just that's the kind of stuff that pops into my head when these things.
Well, things start to add up. If you follow them and pay attention, they start to add up. Now, what conclusion you draw? Okay, somebody might come up with a different one, but if that's what your conclusions are, chances are it's pretty good.
Now, I found out last night that Facebook took down all the pages that militia groups in Michigan had. And I decided to check on Pennsylvania. So I had militia groups on my like pages just to see what they're doing. They're all gone.
What do you mean?
They're not my like pages anymore.
Oh, I see. I
tried to find them. Nothing appeared. So Facebook is censoring.
Well, they're filtering all that stuff out.
The right-wing militia groups. I don't know about Ohio. I imagine they're doing the same thing because I think some of the folks involved are from Ohio. But they are censoring all kind of conservative, right-wing or so content.
Have you spoken with your friend from Michigan, Mark, as of late?
No, I haven't. I probably should, but I haven't. I've been too busy.
I just didn't know what his take on all this was.
It's like just like that little lady that called me about a month or so ago about doing this follow-up story after 15 or 16 years or 20 years. She said, what you were talking about then is all coming true today. She says, I just hadn't run across that article and started reading it, and as I was reading it, the more I read, the more I saw what you were talking about. Okay? Yeah. But since we're talking about the Michigan shit, it was announced by the FBI that one of the 7 members that they did arrest was a member of the Black Lives Matter. And he happened to be a white guy.
Oh yeah, he was at a BLM protest earlier in the year.
Yeah. But he has something to do with the administration or whatever.
Oh really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he's...
one of the folks also was photographed, was a video. He has what they call the anarchist flag, or no, the Antifa flag in the background. If I can get his article up here. So long, you can pull up here. While I'm waiting for my Michigan article to pop up here, be advised. Uh-oh. Why did I do that? Ah, the article though.
She a risk on you?
Yeah, it's okay. There he is. Um, I don't know how many listeners out there in from Beaver County, PA, but this past week there has been threats against polling stations, all 100, and there's 129 polling stations in Beaver County, and there are threats against some of the polling stations that protesters will be there to prevent you from entering the polling station. The county sheriff has said there will be sheriff deputies on duty at all 129 polling stations to make sure voters get in. So, if you live in Beaver County, be aware you might show up drive to your polling station and find out there's a police presence as well as a protest presence. You might have to fight your way in.
Well, there's been through past elections, people out there interfering with the passage of people to the polling place. It hasn't so much around our area, but other big cities where they got lots of people to vote.
I think Philadelphia was 2016, I believe. Anyway, I'll get this argument about the tyrant. Michigan plotter, an anarchist who calls Trump a tyrant. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and other Democrats have been blaming the alleged plot against her on President Trump. But at least one of the 6 ringleaders arrested Thursday by the FBI is a self-proclaimed anarchist who expressed disdain for Trump. Federal authorities raided a house in Heartland, Michigan, and arrested Adam Fox, Barry Croft, Ty Garvin, Khalib Franks, Daniel Harris, and Brandon Caserta. In addition, the state of Michigan charged 7 people with a variety of firearm and terror charges. Now, this Caserta, a YouTube video with the anarchist flag in the background, calls Trump a tyrant. Well, the anarchist flag is the Antifa flag. That thought that Biden said, the group doesn't exist, it's a thought. Well, it's more than just a thought. It amazes me that people believe that it's when he's shown over and over again. It amazes me that people believe that when he's shown over and over and over again that he's a tyrant again. Every single person that works for the government is your enemy, dude. That's what this guy said. Now, the anarchists who've been responsible for much of the violence and protests ignited by the death of George Floyd, which is another untrue story, have aligned themselves over the decades with the Marxist left. Marxist, socialism, communism, they're all pretty much similar. All bad. They are united in the aim of tearing down the American political system and free enterprise, but differ in their vision for the society that would replace it. Anarchists who divide into various streams generally seek a stateless society with no hierarchy based on voluntary associations. Whitmer, in televised remarks last Thursday, said she knew her job would be hard, but I'll be honest, I never could imagine anything like this. Now, just last week, the President of the United States stood before the American people and refused to condemn white supremacists and hate groups like these 2 Michigan militia groups, which have since turned out to be leftist groups. She said, "Stand back, stand by," he told them. "Stand back and stand by." Hate groups heard the President's words not a rebuke, but as a rallying cry to call to action. When our leaders speak, their words matter. They carry weight. Trump, in a heated back and forth in which Joe Biden inserted himself, appeared to be tending to employ the language of moderator Chris Wallace and to call on such groups to stand down. The context did not indicate he was telling the groups to stand by or to deploy. Now, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, I think, responded to Whitmer's charges, saying, cringing that the Democratic governor is sowing division. The Democrats are sowing division, and they are blaming Republicans. It's an old fascist tactic, and communist one too. Tell the people what your opponent is doing, okay? you tell actually what it is that you're doing what you're telling. You're actually doing what you're saying your opponent is doing to cover your tracks. And people want to know better. You know, this is just a way to cover their tracks. Say no, put the blame on somebody else. It wasn't us. Um, Anyway, President Trump had continued to condemn white supremacists and all forms of hate. She said in a statement to CNN, Governor Whitmore is sowing division by making these outlandish allegations. Americans staying united against hate and in support for law enforcement and to stop this plot. Now, there's going to be, my understanding, more to it than what's been on the news. And that it relates to, very similar to a case back a number of years ago. I'm not sure the exact date. Different players, but the same wording on the charges and whatnot. So stay tuned for further developments. Yep.
Yeah, that's something that I haven't seen there. I mean, I haven't seen too many political bombings lately. You're right about the weatherman and the Sudanese Liberation Army.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, those idiots.
Patty Hearst, wasn't she?
Huh?
Kidnapped with Patty Hearst kidnapped by those folks?
Yeah, Patty Hearst.
Yeah.
Yeah. She used her dad's money to ransom herself.
Yeah.
So she get funding for the which one was it?
Yeah. I think it was.
Yeah, Symbolize. Then when he paid off, they took the money and she stayed with the group. And she did serve some prison time, but I'm not sure how much. Personally, probably not enough. Yeah, you see throughout the whole country, the areas where the Democrats are reigning in power. I know we've said this, but the communists are reigning in power. They are not doing anything to stop the troublemakers. They're not arresting the looters. They're not arresting the assaults. And they're not arresting the rioters for the damage they're doing to their property. But if you stand up for yourself and try to protect your property, we're going to send you to jail. Now that you know that that's what they're going to do, you might as well make yourself a good convict or criminal and shoot a few of the bastards on the way down. Take a few out. If the police would start shooting a few of these rioters, it would probably clear up pretty quick. Okay. It may have to take a couple, 3 cities to have it happen. Just like back in the 60s and the 70s when the college kids, instead of getting their college education, were out marching and demonstrating against the war in Vietnam.
I think the authorities don't want another Kent State massacre.
Well, they may not want one, and I don't want to see one. But if that's what's going to save lives, because how many people have been killed so far in these riots?
Too many.
Okay? So, you have to... They're rioting and they're killing people. But we're not doing anything about it. Not that it should be tit for tat, but if you're going to do this, we're going to show you what's going to happen to you if you're going to continue to behave like a bunch of animals, and we're going to shoot you, arrest you, and put you in cages. Okay? That's what needs to be done. After the Kent State shooting, most of the rioting in the colleges dried up in a few weeks. Very few weeks. It was all over. They've been doing it for months and years. Unfortunately, 7 people had to die. 4 people had to die. But it put an end to it.
It wasn't the shooting that put an end to it. Oh.
No.
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 What else happened on that day? That fateful day of May 4th, 1970. This guy was born.
Oh, gee.
I was born on May 4th, 1970, day of the Kent Station. And I think everyone just saw the writing on the wall. Here comes Scotty. We got to be good now. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, if that's your story, you go right ahead and stick to it. But I'm just saying that the fact of the matter was, once the violence was repelled with violence, it started to go away and went away real quick. Kids went back to college and started getting their education again. Back to the brainwashing mills, not colleges, brainwashing mills. So we can teach them more about communism and how to destroy your country. Make communism look so good. Just remember, if you're a communist and we have a communist utopia, you go to work and you make all this beautiful stuff. You get all this stuff for free from the government. But the other problem is, those who can't share the profit of what you're doing. Try eating the damn metals like the communists used to do for people that exceeded in production than that.
There was something back from those days. Some Russian made a statement like that. Under communism, we pretend to work and the government pretends to pay us. Or something. I can't remember that. Anyway, getting back to St. Louis, been a while. Grand jury indicts St. Louis couple who defended their home. Remember Mark and Patricia McCluskey, back on June 28th, defended their St. Louis home against protesters who broke down the gate and were marching through. Now, the attorney for Mark and Patricia McCluskey says he's not surprised the grand jury indicted the St. Louis couple for displaying weapons to ward off threatening Black Lives Matter marchers at their home, but he wants to see the prosecutor's presentation. This past week, on Tuesday, a St. Louis grand jury indicted the McCluskey on felony charges of unlawful use of a weapon and evidence tampering for the June 28th incident, which of course drew national attention. Circuit Attorney Kimberly Gardner, who I believe is one of Soros's DAs or attorneys that's been influenced to do his will for bidding, charged a couple in July with brandishing weapons at protesters. The grand jury added the count of witness tampering. The couple's lawyer, Joel Schwartz, said he plans to request a transcript recording of the proceedings. I'll certainly be interested in what was presented to the grand jury. Missouri Republican Governor Mike Parson has vowed to pardon the couple if they are convicted, and State Attorney General Eric Schmidt has filed a motion to dismiss the case. So those two are former McCluskeys. The couple who spoke at the Republican National Convention were charged with pointing an AR-15 rifle at protesters and wielding a semi-automatic handgun that was said to have made protesters fearful of an injury. Now, okay, yeah, fearful of injury. They wouldn't be that way if they weren't protesting and knocking down gates and damaging people's property. Anyway, Mark McCluskey spoke on Tuesday outside the courthouse. The government chooses to persecute us for doing no more than exercising our right to defend ourselves, our home, our property, and our family, and now we're getting drugged here time and time again. For what? We didn't fire a shot. People were violently protesting from our house and screaming death threats and threats of rape and threats of arson. Nobody gets charged, but we get charged. We criticized the city councilor's office choose not to prosecute protesters for trespassing. 9 protesters were summoned by police. The city councilor, Michael Garvin, said on September 29th that trespassing charges would not be pursued. So here you go, people violating the law. Of course, BM is a Democratic support organization, and the folks here in question are all Democrats. Prosecutor, mayor, city councilor, So they're not going to charge your fellow Democrats for trespassing or anything else. Now, the Attorney General, back in July, Attorney General of the state, argued that the right to defend, the right to self-defense is deeply rooted in the Constitution, and the state has a castle doctrine upholding broad rights for people to protect their lives, families and homes, which is what McCluskey claimed to have done. At a time when there's a call to defund the police, at a time when skyrocketing violent crime rates, including here in Missouri and in St. Louis, we got a prosecutor now targeting individuals for exercising their fundamental rights under the Second Amendment, Smith said. The Attorney General said the charges amount to nothing more than a political prosecution. McCluskey stated the protesters broke through an iron gate marked no trespassing in private street, and that some of them were violently threatening them. Unfortunately, the article didn't print. There are a number of people who commented on what they did, and had kind of forecasted they would probably be brought under charges for being outside with weapons. Some of the videos I saw by gun experts said what they should have done was stayed in their home, could have the weapons by their side at the ready. Ready to grab, but kept an eye on the protesters from inside their home, and therefore not be seen actually brandishing a weapon, because you can be charged. I think in Pennsylvania too, you're brandishing a weapon, even though you don't use it, you can be charged with that. But one thing to be very careful of when you're going to defend your home or defend somebody else is, when do you bring out the weapon? So anyway, and I just know in my case that they come after me. Well, I hope I don't miss any of them.
I was reading here, somebody brought something up that was going through my mind as Mr. T was talking. The scene from Soylent Green with Charlton Heston. I come up with a much better step to that. Instead of being the garbage truck that has the bucket to scoop them up and throw them over and dump them, we have an M1 Abrams with a scoop on the front of it, who picks them up and lifts them up over behind them and dumps them in the back of the dump truck, while at the same time, once the scoop gets out of the front, out of the way of the front, they rattle off a belt full of ammo and drop the scoop and go get them again and dump them. Take them down and dump them in a river somewhere. And I don't want to sound bloodthirsty, but these people are destroying my country, and there's too many people just sitting back not saying a word. Okay, not saying a word. You'll hear them talking to you or something like that at a gun show, but do you hear them saying anything, sending any letters to their congressman or anything like that? Not that it does any good, but if you send a letter and copy it, you have record of it. Then you can, of course, you got to have the press on your side. Well, if you don't have the press on your side, excuse me, you know what? You can set up your own radio station. Okay, you get a printer, you put out your own newspaper. All right. It don't have to be anything fancy. All it has to be just something like this format. You staple it together, have 4 or 5 stories in it, take it out, put it on the. A lot of these stores have tables for flyers and stuff. Just take it and put it there. Put a subscription note down on there. If people want to subscribe to it, tell them how much it's going to be. That way it defrays the cost of the paper and the ink. You can get all the information you want off your computer, but put it out there for those who don't have computers. And,
Now, in the last year plus, anyway, I've been in contact with my local state rep, who's a Democrat, and my state senator, who's a Republican, about various gun Second Amendment related issues and some other things. My wife and I both get emails from Casey and Toomey, and my wife's better at responding than I am, because she's got more time to sit down on the computer than I do. But anyway, for this past week, Senator Toomey is going to retire from politics at the end of his term in 2022.
How long has he been in office?
18 years.
18 years. He's, what, 14 years too long? Okay.
He has
How
to
long
say, I
has
guess
Kelly been in office?
Case, I don't know, Timmy's 18 years and he's hanging up. He's not going to run for re-election. He's not going to run for governor. Okay. What's interesting though is that he and our former governor, Fat Eddie Rendell, Democrat, who,
Tax and spend.
yeah, well, he was police chief of Philadelphia, and mayor of Philadelphia, and our governor, have both teamed up and they want term limits for politicians. Of course, now both are either done or will be done.
When they could do the best job of getting it put through while they were still in office, if they had that thought, well, we're going to try and do it now that we don't have no influence.
Unfortunately, our founding fathers did not envision career politicians. They thought people would come in off the street, farmer, businessman, banker, whatever, come in, do a term or two, and then go back to, do his business.
Yeah, and they didn't envision them being down in Washington out of touch all year long either.
Yeah.
Yeah, only a couple months out of the year.
And they only pay him per diem when they showed him in Washington. They didn't pay him a salary.
Yeah.
So too bad they didn't have the foresight and thought to put in term limits for politicians, because career politicians have not done us very good at all. They screwed us over and over and over again.
Yeah, and they keep on doing it.
And we pay them to do it.
Yeah, and because of that, they keep raising our taxes, but they're cutting down on the amount of KY jelly they're using.
They have their own retirement plan, their own health plan. It's much better than we peons have.
So, yeah, it's...
How many in Congress are millionaires?
How many were millionaires before they went?
Not as many there are after.
Not as many as there are when they come
term or two in office.
Okay, well, folks, we have 4 minutes to 7, so we're going to take a break. We're going to break things. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be back in 4 minutes or 5 minutes or so. You kids go out and break some stuff for me. Let me know what you broke.
Yeah, I got this thing on that.
All right, you guys out there in the chat room picking on me. You didn't think I saw that about being an old dog not learning new tricks. It's just I can't move fast enough. No, it's I don't know what it is me, but the problem lies, seeing how I am not computer savvy. Everything I know is what I taught myself, and I am still learning. And I can get the music to work one time, then I can't get it to work the next time. Plus, I'm having to deal with what can be played so that they don't shut me off. And see, they're already calling to shut me off. Mr. T's got a ring.
Oh, God, this is. Uh-oh.
Telemarketer.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He's got an uh-oh moment.
I cleaned two vehicles today.
Oh, wait a minute. Hi, this is Lona, a volunteer with Let America Vote. With only a few weeks left until the most critical election in generations, we want to make sure voting is safe and secure. Will you be a Democratic voter in this election? Parentheses. If you'd like to unsubscribe, just say stop. I know, Lona, you probably can't hear this. I'm a Republican. I'm not voting Democrat.
So, stop!
So I will type in stop here in a bit. But first, I have to find my cursor. So. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
So,
anyway, Joe Biden. Remember him? Mr. Senile, Mr. Pedophile. Investigative reporter Joe Biden now under federal criminal investigation. I hope this is true.
where's it? What site's it put on?
WorldNet Daily.
Okay, if it's on WorldNet Daily, it's probably true. I've only found over the years one story that they put out was false.
Joe Biden, former vice president, if he stays that way, anyway, is under an active federal criminal investigation regarding his role in the Barack Obama administration counterintelligence probe of the Trump campaign, according to investigative reporter Paul Sperry. Sperry wrote on Twitter that the investigation includes Biden's activity in Ukraine, and Ukrainian witnesses are cooperating. During the 2016 election, Democrats presidential nominee Hillary Clinton was investigated by the FBI for her use of a private email system to transmit classified document information, which is still not made public exactly, but she should be tried in county for treason. But anyway, Sperry said on Tuesday the House investigators joined the Senate in asking the FBI to open a criminal investigation of possible foreign influence and peddling involving Biden and his younger brother and son. Son being, I think, Hunter. The Obama administration used a discredited political opposition research document from the part by the Hillary campaign to allege that Trump campaign was colluding with Russia. A 2-year investigation by special counsel Robert Mueller does support the claim. And now a Senate report has revealed Obama was briefed on an alleged plot by Hillary Clinton in her campaign to spread the story that Trump was tied to Russia in order to divert public attention from her own email scandal. That's right. Hey, look over here instead of me.
Over here?
Yeah.
I see a rebel flag.
The briefing came to Obama from then CIA Director John Brennan, Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe, and classified Brennan's handwritten notes were meeting along with a CIA memo revealing official perjury matter to the FBI for possible investigation. President Trump then ordered all the documents concerning the Russiagate scandal and the Clinton email scandal to be classified. U.S. Attorney John Durham is now conducting a criminal investigation in the Obama administration Trump-Russia probe. The investigative reporters very recently reported Real Clear Investigations that Brennan also edited a crucial section of the intelligence report on Russian interference in the 2016 election. Brennan is assigned a political ally to take a lead role in writing a career analysis Brenna's take that the Russian leader Vladimir Putin intervened in the 2016 election to help Trump win the White House. The President conclusion Brennan inserted in his report was used as help justify continuing the Trump-Russia cruise investigation, which was launched by FBI in 2016. The Senate last week released results of a year-long investigation by two committees that found Hunter Biden's business deals with his father, while his father was president, raised alarm among government officials who flag contents in the interest of possible criminal activity ranging from bribery to sex trafficking. Hunter has a problem with sexual relations with people.
Takes after his own man, doesn't he?
I said that.
I did. I'll claim that.
The report found Obama administration officials ignored clear warning signs about ethical conflicts and possible extortion risks involving not just Hunter Biden, but the whole Biden family, i.e. Joe Biden's family. Anyway, one of the biggest revelations, the Just News said, was that the U.S. Treasury Department flagged payments collected overseas by Hunter Biden and business partner Devin Archer for possible illicit activities. Report by Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee and the Finance Committee addressed some of the concerns raised by Hunter Biden's lucrative salary in the corrupt Ukrainian gas company. Personal, while his father was in charge of Ukraine's policy for the Obama administration. Then what you got for months of doing nothing. And there was his trip with his father aboard Air Force Two to Beijing, China, where he struck a $1 billion deal with a Chinese-owned or state-owned company. Gee. So is that an influence on the scene? Because he's vice president? Anyway. The report found Hunter Biden paid non-resident women who were nationals of Russia and other East European countries and who appeared to be linked to an East European prostitution or human trafficking ring. Okay. Treasury records required by the committee chairman show potential criminal activity related to transactions between Hunter Biden, his family, his associates with Ukrainian, Russian, Chinese nationals, and that gossip. I don't know if that's one of those weird Islamic meetings anyway. The report describes suspicious activity reports flagged President Hunter Biden involving millions of dollars in transactions. Russian oligarch Lenin Matrunia and Chinese business interests tied to his communist government, or to its communist government. Senator Ron Johnson, who comes from Wisconsin, chairman of the Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee for extortion. The report raises serious questions that former Vice President Biden needs to answer. There are simply too many potential conflict of interest, counterintelligence, and extortion threats to ignore, he said. The report also charged that Hunter Biden, his family, and others received millions of dollars from foreign nationals with questionable backgrounds. Gee, is that why the Biden family, just Joe and Jill, are worth over $13 million? Could be. And one of those was a $3.5 million wire transfer from Yemen Baturini, the wife of the former mayor of Moscow. And of course, Joe Biden is on video broadcasting how he threatened to withhold U.S. aid from Ukraine unless that prosecutor was fired. We know that he was fired. So, Biden is just another corrupt politician. You want to read about that?
Oh, I got a headache. I gotta go.
Two.
Don't take your water without spilling some in those. A couple comments here from the kids. Want to know if anyone was still waiting for their tax refund, and one of them said last time they checked, it said it was still being processed. there is a possibility that you've been flagged as a possible domestic terrorist or a subversive, and they don't want to send you the money to be able to buy supplies to overthrow and kick them out of their jobs.
Uh, I'll give you just maybe a little good news. My one daughter, I did her tax forms. She just got her federal tax um, payment back.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll see you next week.
she got her tax refund back last
Talking
week.
about doing something
It might
else
still be in the
Saturday.
mail somewhere. I mean, we got 50 states, a few territories you get mail to, so it might be bounced around the country somewhere. Just hang in there. Of course, she also got a $1,200 stimulus check too, which was surprising. Mike?
Oh,
No, his mic was not on.
I'm sorry, I thought I turned it on.
They should have said something sooner. He talked for 16 minutes, and now you're telling me it. That's,
Well.
yeah. Oh, no, you're not going to redo that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Trying to find out.
Something I was going to say with all that kind of crap that's going on there. I see they're now saying that the second stimulus check will not come until after the election. And
Wait a minute, why are they doing that?
Trump is refusing to do the virtual debate. He says that's not a debate. If you're sitting at a desk looking at a monitor and you're talking into it, to talk to somebody that's 500 miles away, that's not a debate. A debate is face-to-face contact. And,
All right, why is that article?
Jack flags. Daryl's probably right. They flagged me. So, yeah, I was only teasing. But there's a lot to be said about teasing. A lot to be said about. We're joking about it, but a lot of it's true. That's the sad part. But if you don't joke about it, sometimes it'll drive you nuts, and then you go off the deep end, and then you become like those idiots up there in Michigan who did not know enough to keep their mouth shut about the plans that they were going to do. They were posting it on social media.
If you're planning to do something that's considered illegal, don't use your phone. Don't use email. And don't use social media.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well just put a sign on you and say, "Hey, I'm planning to kidnap the governor of Michigan." You know, I wouldn't waste my time trying to kidnap him. I'm waiting for him to step in a chuck hole and break his leg and blame it on coronavirus. Of course, he probably would never do that because he'd probably never get out of the big city and doesn't even know what a woodchuck hole is. But no, the time will come when things have to be done, and I'm going to tell you, if it does and you partake it, do not use social media. Repeat that. Don't be dumb like our enemy. Don't use social media. Let them use it and tell you what they're going to do so you can counteract it, but don't you use it.
And only use people that you know or can be verified by people that you know. Don't trust strangers.
I know Mike and I used to sit here night after night on Saturday nights. And before I got busted, we started gaslighting, sending out a worthless code, worthless message.
Oh yeah, I remember. He
Okay, so
John has a long mustache.
yeah. One night I went, follow Kobigny Craig, DMTMTO. That's out of our limits. But when it really got bad, or when they really got nasty, is when we started color coding our stories, or our announcements. And then when we put the one out, White Sanctify, which meant We have reason to believe that our communications system has been compromised. It was within a week after that we got a visit, or I got a visit.
I do the code word. Liveness.
Well, I'm not bragging, Emmy. After dealing with them face to face and having about 20 guns pointed at me, was I scared then? Yes, I was. Am I afraid of them? No. I'm not afraid of them because they generally work in a group because they, on an individual basis, are basically bullies and cowards. Okay? And I'll just put it this way, I'm not going the next time. They will have to kill me and put me in a body bag, but I'm not going.
Right. Alright, why is my cursor frozen again? What? Bring up here.
Yeah. God, I lost my phone. Well, Mr. T's busy, okay.
Yeah, my cursor is frozen. I can't do anything.
Oh, it does that all the time.
I don't know why.
It's something to do with the internets because of the demand. Okay. Of course, you know Pelosi, but I think we mentioned at the beginning. Here's what I was going to do.
Here we go. Now it's free.
Dems to announce bill creating commission on presidential capacity. This off of newsmax.com. And we were talking about that earlier, but I had the story and I was on a rampage and I was pissed, still am. Okay. This is by Marcia Herman. After House Speaker Nancy Pelosi hinted Thursday that discussions about the 25th Amendment could be taking place amid President Donald Trump's coronavirus diagnosis, her office announced a new bill will be unveiled on Friday that would create a commission to determine whether the president is fit for office. The Hill reported that Pelosi teamed up with Representative Jamie Raskin, who is a constitutional law expert on the bill. Oh, you so-called constitutional experts don't know shit about what you're talking about. And Constitution was not put out to be interpreted by any other way than what it said. Pelosi's office announced that two lawmakers will formally introduce the bill during a news conference on Capitol Hill on Friday morning, which I guess it was introduced. According to the Hill, the proposed legislation will be similar to the proposal Redkin put forward back in 2017. Yeah. Under that plan, the commission would be created that would be tasked with determining presidential fitness for office as outlined by the Constitution's 25th Amendment. Raskin's original bill would have created a body which is going to create a body, Frankenstein. He's going to create a monster, which is mentioned in the 25th Amendment. The newly formed body would be made up of physicians, psychiatrists, and former public officials like former presidents or cabinet secretaries selected by the congressional leadership that would be able to declare if the president can't fulfill his office duties. Now talk about stacking the deck against anybody. Hours after the president announced his coronavirus diagnosis Friday, Raskin told the Hill he intended to update his bill. I've got the 25th Amendment legislation from the last Congress, H.R. 1987, which I'm going to be dusting off and reintroducing, Raskin said. On Thursday, Pelosi didn't say whether it is time to invoke the 25th Amendment when asked by the reporters. She did say she wanted to know why the White House wasn't providing more updates about the president's health. None of your friggin' business. You've got more important things to do than stand by and hold your hand and say, "Dear Pelosi, my fever temperature was 98.9 this morning, and this is now noon. It's now 98.7. Okay, and I'm feeling just great. I haven't sweated or peed my pants once today." I'm not talking about it today, except to tell you, if you want to talk about that, we'll see you tomorrow, Pelosi said on the 25th Amendment. But you take me back to my point, Mr. President, when was the last time you had a negative test before you're positive? Why is the White House not telling the country that important facts about how this made a hot spot in the White House? Have you ever heard of doctor-patient confidentiality, the HIPAA Act? Okay? You people put that out there to protect people's medical history. All right? So, Trump is a citizen of the United States. He is covered by that same law. You dumb friggin' sorry.
All right.
I turn my back on them. They are stupid. Arrogant. What can I say? They're old fucks. Like me.
In case you missed this one, Biden Care system will kill 125,000 people through uninsurance. Joe Biden released a health plan today. That was actually a couple days on the 17th. I'm sorry, the 7th. Its most significant elements are: 1, the creation of a public option; 2, the increase of subsidies for those buying plans on the exchange, especially for families with incomes above 400% of the poverty line; and 3, the option for individuals in non-Medicaid expansion states to enroll in the public option for free. Biden claims that the resulting system will ensure 97% of Americans, meaning 3% will be left uninsured. There is much to quibble with Biden's plan. If individuals in Medicaid expansion states can enroll in the public option for free, then won't every state repeal their Medicaid expansion to save state money? I suppose that's fine depending on how good the public option is, but is that really the intended goal? More generally, Biden's plan has the same problem as any other plan that does not create a national health insurance system. It causes enormous amounts of insurance churn and instability, further causing people when they face hardships, causing people problems. They face hardships just like job loss, loss of spouse, loss of Medicaid due to income increase, and every other negative life event. The most remarkable thing about Biden's plan is that it does not even aim to provide universal insurance coverage. The more moderate wing of the Democratic Party has mostly been putting out plans that purport to achieve universal coverage through auto enrollment mechanism without national health insurance. But Biden is literally doubling down on, quote, preserving Obamacare, unquote, by preserving a class of uninsured people. His campaign claims that the plan will leave about 3% of Americans uninsured. These sorts of estimates should be taken with a grain of salt, as it's very uncertain how people will respond to the reforms. For instance, the Congressional Budget Office initially estimated that 22 million Americans would sign up for insurance on the Obamacare exchange, but only half that many actually did. I didn't need to. I didn't do it. Even if you suppose that Biden's estimate is right,
Just one of them big monster mosquitoes.
And uninsured, I'm sorry. Even if you suppose that Biden's estimate is right and the uninsurance rate does go to 3%, It still implies an enormous amount of unnecessary death caused by a lack of insurance. One commonly used estimate, I'm not sure what this CAP stands for, estimates states, sorry, one commonly used estimate states that one unnecessary death occurs annually for every 803 people that are uninsured. That means in the first 10 years of Biden care, over 120,000 people will unnecessarily die due to lack of insurance. This is the equivalent to death toll of 42 September 11th style attacks. Needless to say, this is unacceptable. No Democrat or Republican, for that matter, should be running on a health plan that does not provide universal coverage. You really want this guy as president? I sure don't. In fact, I found out somebody that one of my relatives knows already voted by mail for Joe Biden. What she didn't know, and I'm not sure how she didn't know, but what she didn't know was that Biden was not just in favor of abortion, but was in favor of abortion up through the moment of birth, and if the baby survived the abortion, to let the baby just stay in a pan and die. Nobody takes care of it. Just let it die. Lack of care. She did not know.
I wonder how he would feel if his mother left him in the basket to die.
She did not know that Joe Biden, wife Jill, was actually still married to her first husband when Joe and Jill started dating. She did not know that not only will Joe Biden has promised to undo the tax cuts that President Trump put in effect, he's also going to raise our taxes even beyond that. Do you really want to have somebody as president who wants to raise your taxes so high that you may not have money to spend on necessary items like food, clothing, gasoline for your car, maintenance repairs of house and cars and whatever else, college educations? Do you really have a socialist, borderline communist regime in charge? Because that's what we're going to get. Vote for Biden-Harris. And if Pelosi is successful, or even if she isn't, but if Biden-Harris get elected and sworn in as president and vice president, under Constitution, it's the vice president with the in conjunction with the majority of the cabinet members that makes a decision. Hey, the pres is not capable of doing the duties of president, and he gets with, and then that vice president also gets with the Speaker of the House and the Senate guy. Anyway, that president must go, and the total, and the vice president in charge, and invoke the 25th Amendment. You vote for Biden-Harris, I don't think Biden's going to be president very long. 30 to 90 days, maybe at most, and then Harris takes over.
I haven't seen a chat come up for quite a while.
Uh-oh.
I wonder if...
we may be silent. They may be... YouTube might have silenced the chat.
Well, it shows we've got 8 people listening, and our clock is still ticking.
Yeah, kamikaze back here.
Our clock is still ticking that we are doing live, and it says live, so it ain't at our end. So I sent out a digital message to the kids out there to see if they were just fine, and nobody said anything about this.
Let's see here, man. All right, bud.
Okay, Jack Lash said that he's still there, so they all must have got quiet. Something we were saying got them all quiet.
Let's see.
So, okay, well, Mr. T is playing with his.
I'm trying to cover. Make sure I cover. Oh, here he is. This one's fine right there. Okay. You ready to cover any of this? Fuck, go away.
Sorry, folks, we're just totally discombobulated tonight.
Swat that poke at the sky.
All right, here you go. Here's what they think of our veterans and their need for hospital care.
Don't get me started.
Newsmax. Anti-Trump Washington Post writer wants Walter Reed defunded. Okay. This is by Karen Dyson. The Washington Post Jennifer Rubin wants Walter Reed National Military Medical Center to be defunded for potentially causing the health hazard after releasing President Donald Trump on Monday evening. Rubin tweeted, "Any MD who publicly endorses this insanity needs to lose his or her license, period. Congress might want to defund Walter Reed. It is a public health hazard." So, you're a goddamn newspaper reporter, flunk-ass bitch, can't do anything else, and you're telling me or telling us that the doctors don't know what they're doing? You might have a point there, but when you have a team of doctors and you're looking after the president, you can bet he's getting the best medical care that can be found. All right? Okay. A 74-year-old obese man with COVID who might have lung damage and a pattern of disregarding medical advice is returning to an environment in which he may infect others. What planet does Conley inhabit? Where is the rest of Walter Reed? The VP, they are remarkable cowards. In September, Rubin removed the word conservative from her Twitter biography. The Washington Post has remained a staunch Trump opponent during his time in office, but often putting her at odds with other Republicans. Let's be honest, there is no conservative movement or party today, Rubin said. There is a Republican Party thoroughly infused with racism and intellectual, corrupted by right-wing nationalism. But there is no party that believes in less or small government. Gee, if I didn't read the word Republican in front of all those statements, I would have thought you were talking about the Democrats. God, how stupid I must be. I have to have some stupid-ass reporter tell me that there is no Republican Party, and those that are racist and
Bigoted and everything else.
yeah, everything else.
Okay. as what you say?
Now, we're getting tweets here.
Oh.
Cannabis said, I had to go pee. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're forgiven, Emmy.
I know, as Jack knows, I often describe the Democratic Party as a Democratic/Socialist/Communist Party of the USA.
Yeah, didn't they merge all those things together here years ago?
From Newsweek. Putin, you know him, Putin, guy in Russia? Yeah. Says he wants to work with Biden, claims, quote, shared values, unquote, between Democrats and communism.
What's that got to tell you?
Yeah,
what
right
does that
there.
really tell you?
Everything you want to know right there.
Yeah.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has attempted to mark a positive resemblance. Note that. has attempted to mark a positive resemblance between Democratic president candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden and Soviet communists in a wide-ranging interview with Royosa TV channel, released Wednesday as the 2020 Vice Presidential candidate prepared to debate. President Putin said the Kremlin will be open to working with whoever sits in the Oval Office in 2021, despite U.S. intelligence reports indicating that Russia is trying to undermine Biden in the same way it did Democratic Hillary Clinton in 2016. But Putin linked Biden to communist ideology during the interview, while Putin, a former member, KGB colonel, an intelligence operator, made a comparison in positive terms. His comment lines up with GOP talking points about the Biden-Kamala Harris ticket. Trump and his allies have tried to frame their opponents proposing a far-left extremist platform that dictated by the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Progressive is code word for socialist. Okay? Quote, the Democratic Party is traditionally closer to the so-called liberal values, closer to social democrat ideas, communism, Putin said, and it was from the social democratic environment that the Communist Party evolved. Okay? Our Democrats want to call themselves social democrats. There was a social democratic party in Germany, been there for decades. And it was from the social democratic environment that the Communist Party evolved. Democratic, Socialist, Communist Party of the USA. After all, I was a member of the Soviet Communist Party for nearly 20 years, Putin added. I was a rank and file member, but it can be said that I believe in the party's ideas. I still like many of these left-wing values, equality and fraternity. What is bad about them? In fact, they are akin to Christian values. Yeah, but there's a difference. Yes, they are very difficult to implement, but they are very attractive nonetheless. In other words, this can be seen as an ideological basis for developing contact with the Democratic representative. Putin also reminisced of the Soviet Union's rhetorical support for African American civil rights struggle. Race riots 1960s had helped. American racial equality will play a central role in the coming election. Trump has been widely criticized for dismissing the concerns of black voters and tacitly endorsing violent white supremacist groups. That is a lie. The story shows him getting more black support this time around than back in 2016. Trump and his allies have tried to characterize probably the stuff he does, the Black Lives Matter movement, for example, as an extremist and even terrorist organization. It is. Okay? No doubt in my mind it's a terrorist extremist organization. The union leader said they are trained Marxists. Okay? Putin said black Americans, quote, constitute a stable electorate in favor of Democrats. Well, it's because the Democrats have lied to them too many times. Yeah.
No, the Democrats wouldn't do that. Adolf Hitler might, but Democrats wouldn't.
The Soviet Union also supported African American movement for their legitimate rights. They did, but in such a way to touch off the race riots of the 60s, to make us weaker at home when we were fighting Vietnam at the same time. Quote, so this is something that can be seen to a degree as common values, if not a unifying agent for us, Putin said. People of my generation remember a time when huge supporters Angela Davis, a member of the U.S. Communist Party, an ardent fighter for the rights of African Americans, were on view around the Soviet Union. FBI Director Christopher Wray confirmed in September that Russia is spreading disinformation to denigrate Biden ahead of the election. American intelligence agency lawmakers, including the Republican-led Senate committee, that confirmed extensive contact between Trump's 2016 campaign and Moscow, including multiple individuals linked to Russian intelligence. I doubt very so that's true. If Trump had help from Moscow, I don't think it was all Moscow's decision. Trump and Putin have repeatedly dismissed reports of former branding him as fake news, as if to undermine Trump's presidency and damage ties between Washington D.C. and Moscow. Putin also pointed out to Rosia a specific area where we could be ready to work with a Biden administration, despite the former vice president's vowing to address Russian meddling and aggressive foreign policy. Promises Putin described as sharp anti-Russian rhetoric. Candidate Biden has openly said he is ready to extend the New START, or to sign a new strategic offensive reductions treaty, said Putin, referring to the landmark nuclear arms control accord that is due to lapse next year. This is already a very significant element of our potential for future cooperation. The Trump administration has thus far refused offers to extend the deal, saying it wants China included in any new nuclear arms deals. Which is true. China should be included. Quote, I would like to repeat what I said more than once before. We'll work with any future president of the United States, the one who the American people give the vote of confidence to, said Putin. And let's see. So, Democratic Party of the United States shares common values, ideology with the former, with the communist Soviet Union. Democrats here have called themselves Democrat Socialists or Social Democrats. Kind of like what they do, what was done in then West Germany and now in Germany since reunification. They are communists. They're not Democrats. They are communists. The Democratic Party is communist. If you haven't figured that out by now, go back to the days of FDR, his wife Eleanor. They were communist sympathizers. Most of FDR's cabinet members were either communists or communist sympathizers.
He made no bones about that either.
And nuclear secrets were quietly exported to Russia from the west, from Alaska to Vladivostok, Siberia. Okay? FDR condoned that. So did some scientists, because they were afraid that the United States was the only country that had the bomb, that we may be tempted to use it on just war in Japan. We have people in our government and agencies working for the government that, through some stupidity, believe that we need to be co-equal with Russia and vice versa. No, we need to be at least equal to Russia, if not superior. Anyway, take it away.
I don't have room to take it away. My wheelbarrow is full.
My nose is all stuffed up.
Yeah, probably because it's getting warm in here.
Could be.
I don't know where to go next, so we have just a couple minutes. Let's do this. We have been hearing, I'm not going to do the whole story, but we've been hearing some gruntling about statehood for Puerto Rico and Washington District of Criminals.
Bad idea.
Okay. Now, Democrat candidate Joe Biden, this is off of Newsmax, by the way. Democratic candidate Joe Biden has strongly endorsed statehood for both Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia. If he wins the November election, he may sweep into power with Democrat-led House and Senate, giving his party the ability to make state extended statehood a fact. adding one or two new Democrat states could be catalyst, messy for the GOP's future in controlling Congress and the future presidential elections. Statehood for both Puerto Rico and district would add 4 senators to Congress, and all likely to be communists.
Them too.
Electorally speaking, it would be an earth-changing event. Tampa Bay-based political consultant Anthony Padinsky said of the possibility of the 2 new states becoming part of the country, it would change the game and majority upset the electoral balance in the House. Well, we all know they want to do away with the Electoral College. Okay, and by granting statehood to District of Columbia, which when it was chartered and founded and purchased by the federal government to be the seat of the capital, it was in the charter that it was not to become a state.
Yep.
It is the seat of government, therefore it is not eligible for statehood. In fact, the Congress of the United States is the one who is supposed to be administering the, what do you want to call them?
Laws.
The statutes,
Yeah.
okay, of the town. It should technically not have a governor. Should not be an elected governor. Should be an appointed governor. Okay, and the chief of police should be appointed by the federal government. So on, and administered by the federal government. Not allowed to be a taxing body. There goes the moose. I just saw a moose. Okay, let's see, where am I? Trump 2020 victory board mentioned Jason Meisner told Newsmax that if Democrats push forward with their radical agenda, Democrats will never win another election. They won't, because the Democrats will gain control and they will have a foothold in, well, the North and South again, the Northern Democrats against the Southern Republicans. Gee, does that sound familiar? Didn't somebody try that 100 or 150
I think it meant Northern
years ago?
Republicans versus Southern Democrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was in the 1860s.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
62, 3, 4, 5.
The American people have to understand that this election is the most consequential election in modern history, he said. If the Democrats win, they're going to pack the courts, nuke the filibuster, and end the Electoral College and make D.C. and Puerto Rico statutes, along with take away your guns, so that you can't put up a fight to stop them. That's all I'm going to read it after, because a lot of them just goes on and on and on. So I know there's been a couple of times that Puerto Rico has voted on becoming a state and has been defeated both times in general election by the people of Puerto Rico.
There are some advantages to remaining a territory.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the governor of Puerto Rico has declared herself, I think it's her, for Trump. She's a Democrat.
Well, they might not, all Democrats may not be bad.
Oh,
Just like all Republicans aren't necessarily good.
that's for sure. Like a toonie.
How many legs on that moose?
Alan Spector.
Uncle Bob wants to know how many legs are on that moose. Well, as far as I can tell, Uncle Bob had 4 legs and 2 antlers with a nice big palm in them. That comes from drinking that triple distilled Irish whiskey.
You better quit doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 6 minutes here.
Yeah, you got 6 minutes.
Okay, former New York Times reporter says Trump's COVID remark may be the smartest comment he's ever made. Posted in the Daily Wire. Alex, let's see, Berenson is an odd creature. He's a former New York Times reporter who actually doesn't hate President Donald Trump. Berenson, author of a dozen spy novels, I'm going to look him up, spent much of his day on Twitter highlighting data as he argues that the media overestimates the risk of COVID-19. Yeah, they want to put the fear into the people here for control. So, Berenson was watching when Trump wrote on Twitter, "I'll be leaving the great Walter Reed Medical Center today at 6 p.m. Feeling really good. Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. We have developed under the Trump administration some really great drugs and knowledge. I feel better than I did 20 years ago." Berenson responded, "Maybe the smartest comment that real Donald Trump has ever made. For too long we let the virus and the media's hysteria around it dominate us," which is true. I see comments on Facebook probably every day about the fear of COVID-19 and everybody's got to wear a mask, and if we all wore masks and we would have an increased number of cases, and the number of cases of COVID-19 don't matter. It's the number of people who have died from it matters. That's what matters. Overall, you have over a 99% survivability rate, okay, for COVID-19. So, I am not worried about it. Where was it? Okay. Berenson also coined a pertinent name for the mainstream media's coverage of COVID-19 as panic porn. The author authored Unreported Truths about COVID-19, and he appeared on last Monday night, on Tucker Carlson's Tonight Show, where he elaborated on his statement and explained what Trump really meant. "That might be the most presidential thing this president ever said," Berenson said. "He is not actually saying don't be afraid of COVID. He's saying don't be afraid of one another, because this is a respiratory virus. It's spread between people. It's like the flu and colds. In fact, a lot of colds are coronaviruses anyway. And the only way to make it go away permanently is to lock us all up permanently. And that can't happen. That is not compatible with life." Berenson, who is in New York City, said when he walked around a deserted Times Square to hide the outbreak, it looked as, quote, as if a neutron bomb went off. In case anybody's forgotten, neutron bombs are nuclear weapons that kill by radiation and not radiation and explosive content. 6 months ago, even then, that response really didn't make sense, but there are reasons for it, Berenson said. But we are 6 months on, and we know that if you believe the World Health Organization, and 750 million people have been affected with this, and the death rate is in about 1 in 1,000. If you believe in the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention numbers, it might be 997. It's a tiny death rate. We've gone crazy. We have sacrificed our kids. We have sacrificed society, and Donald Trump walked out of the hospital today and said what needed to be said. We have to stop being afraid of this. He's right. We need to stop being afraid of this virus. We need to not listen to the fear that various politicians in the media keep saying.
Well, you got 1 minute.
This country, we put people on the moon. We're the first manned flight in 1903. What has happened to us is rather dismal. This dismal virus has scared everyone to death. And to understand it, we have to get this out of it. We have to get this out of us. And Trump pointed out Monday, with upbeat of COVID-19. One thing is for certain, don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it. We're going to beat it. We have the best medical equipment. We have the best medicines, all developed recently, and we're going to beat it. I went in. I didn't feel so good 2 days ago, and I could have left 2 days ago. Anyway, basically, repeats the saying over again. Don't be afraid of COVID-19. Get on with your lives. And I'm trying to do the best I can. My life hasn't really changed by the way I didn't wear a mask now and then.
Crazy Uncle Bob just stated, I just noticed that the image of Daryl's monitor is bass backwards.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, we know that, and we can't figure out why. Okay? If you know why, you can come and fix it for us. So at that point, kids, it is 8 o'clock.
Boy.
I am tired. I am kaput. I'm going up and kick my shoes off, take my sock off, and look at my foot. I got new diabetic shoes this week.
Wow. They're kind of
And,
good.
and when I come home from the gun show last night, I took my shoes off, and there was this great big red spot on the top of my foot. Okay, so I took my sock off, and here the skin on the top of my foot was rubbed off. So I got a bandage on it now, so I gotta go take care of it and look at it. But we'll see you next week. Lord willing, the creeks don't rise, and I'm not too hungover from Saturday night's party that we're gonna have.
Oh no, we are a party?
Yeah,
How many people?
Benny, you wanna come? Emmy, you wanna come out for a party? Come on.
You know, Governor Wine said the increase in COVID-19 cases in Ohio is due to people not caring, people having large parties, and people going to funerals.
But if you drink alcohol, it keeps you from getting it. You wash your hands with alcohol, right? To disinfect you.
That's true.
Okay. So if you drink alcohol on the internal part, that ought to kill the virus inside your system.
Makes sense to me.
So get pickled. Okay, kids, we will see you next week. And stay frosty.
Stay alert too.
Stay alert.
Watch your six. Situational awareness.
Okay, we are done. And